All right. Well, I think we got all the group stuff covered. We talked about LPL casters and everything like that. One topic that I found really interesting that I wanted to bring up, see your guys' thoughts on it, was the topic of Samira. So Samira just came out, and I think that more importantly than the champion just being broken, what was kind of like explained was just the mentality of Riot towards like new champions. Like Ender came out with a tweet where he pretty much explained that champions are intentionally created as overpowered because people associate fun with winning. So your champion like needs to be super super strong. And I just wanted to like broaden this topic in terms of like game balance. Like, do you think that this is like a healthy thing for the game that we are like releasing champions so strong?
I think it sounds weird. It sounds weird in so many different aspects, but the one I want to start with is the fact that didn't Riot come out themselves and say that they were going to do the reverse? Like, didn't they say a few months ago that they want to actually release champions underpowered and like tune them up to a level that's fine? That's why I don't get this like now this kind of like statement in this argument. It's just so weird.
Yeah, I think that that's an issue. But also just like in terms of just the idea behind putting a champion out that's super super OP, what like doesn't that kind of just hurt the game or like hurt the credibility of the game? I mean, this isn't esports.
That's the competitive integrity of the game. I mean, what you're alluding to there, Dom, is basically it becomes a pay-to-win game. Like if you're someone who doesn't buy the champion and you're just going to grind for a month to get it or whatever, you will never get it when it's broken. And everyone who's making you want to buy the game by playing it when it's broken just gets free wins off you. So now League of Legends as a game is about who can afford to buy the brand new champion when it's released and abuse it for the first month while it's inarguably broken. And let's be real, of the last 10 champions they've released, I'm maybe being generous if I say 2 of them weren't just utterly busted when they came out. So I don't buy the philosophy at all. Like, to me, this is one of those areas where Riot will always attempt to have their cake and eat it. They will always simultaneously tell you, oh, we don't do it for that reason. We're not cynical and just trying to make money. Well, just obviously they are. They just don't want to, like, their logic is, well, if you can get away with it, why admit it? So they just claim, oh, no, we really thought in the PBE made sense where it was at. Like, none of that ever makes any sense. Like, when he says in his example here, I assume he's literally talking specifically about this one, Samira, right? And maybe he's even referencing something a dev might have told him behind the scenes. Because when he says, for example, what he says here, the champion team creates a champion that is fresh, rewarding to players and against, right? Can I introduce you, Ender, to a champion called, the fuck? I've actually forgotten the name now.
Which one?
What's the cat one called? What's the fucking shit?
Oh, Yumi?
Yeah, there we go. Right, can anyone just apply that logic? Does that philosophy apply to Yumi? Is it rewarding to play as or against? In my opinion, the reason why Yumi was universally flamed is because even the people winning on it couldn't feel like it was a good champion. They were like, well, I don't really fucking do anything, do I? Just stand next to the guy and just shoot that thing out. That's it. That's all you do. And hilarious, we won. Like, if anything, teams even took that as like, it was meme, wasn't it? So it's always going to be a worrying sign, by the way, if the people who abuse the champion are like, that shit's broken. Like, that's a really worrying sign if you're ever in game death. Like, that should be the guy defending you. If you go and follow a game like StarCraft where they play the different distinct races, mate, there are players who play the one that's broken that'll argue to the end of time like 50 reasons as to why it's not broken, or they'll use some circular logic of like, well, it's fine that it's broken because your race was broken 2 years earlier, so why don't we get our time? Like, they'll go some angle. So like, I don't really know where Ender's coming from this one. I don't mind the angle of like, let's create a space where we can have discussions and maybe Riot has a different philosophy to us. Okay, maybe, but I don't think he did a very good job arguing that in this particular case, or it only applies to this one champion as far as I can tell. Like, that wouldn't apply to the last few that were mega busted. Come on.
Yeah, I mean, the thing that stands out is like the and against part of that. Like, it's rewarding to play with and against. Because and against, it's like, I feel like they just remove so much counterplay from champions nowadays where it's like, okay, this champion can go in, right? And if it was rewarding to play with and against, it wouldn't have a circular wind wall where you can't throw skill shots at it like when it has its W up or whatever. Like, that doesn't make sense to me. It's like, if you want it to be rewarding to play like against it, then why are you giving these champions so many tools to be able to counterplay everything that you throw at it? Like, a champion can't have every single strength and have no weaknesses. Like, there has to be the weaknesses to complement the strengths in order for a champion to be worthy to play against. So it just seemed super, super strange that was like an argument used for Samira, because it's like, yeah, it just doesn't make sense contextually when you look at the champion's kit. Like, they built it so that it's not fun to play against.
I mean, even just the logic of that, you can release a champion like OP, like, and they're admitting it, right? They're admitting that they're releasing it too strong, but also saying like their goal is to make it rewarding to play against. It just contradicts itself.
Yeah.
I'll even say, I think you've nailed another thing as well to me, Dom. To me, the lesson we should have learned, problem is I can't remember half the fucking champions today. The problem from Aphelios that everyone should have learned, what everyone was screaming to Riot is, it's not even about it being OP. It's that it is counterintuitive. Forget it's not intuitive. It's counterintuitive. Like some of the things you see lie to your eye. Like that's not what that's going to do. Well, that's not what you think it's going to do based on past champion interactions. Here's the problem I have is it's one thing if something's broken. Like when they released that Yawn champion, obviously everyone was just dumpstering everyone for the first week where like idiots didn't know, like just wait till it goes backwards to the point it originally came for. But like once you get that doesn't even take many games. It's pretty intuitive actually. You realise like, right, yeah, it's mad OP when it's going forwards, but if some of my teammates can wait where he has to go back, then we just get him at the end, and if he hasn't killed us all, that's fine. The problem with this champion, the Samira one, is it reminds me way more of the Aphelios angle, where it's like you're playing against it, you're like, I've just played 2 games, I still don't understand what's going on. Like, what the fuck? Do I have to now, this is the worst to me, do I have to now buy the champion myself and play that role in champion just to have a chance of playing in a game against it? To me, if that's the threshold, like you've ruined your own game. Because to me, what made League one of the biggest games in the world is that you can just be a player in bronze and you can just like Lulu and just lock it in every time in that one role and just don't give a fuck. Like you can probably have a half decent game no matter what year it is. Like you're at a low enough level, everyone isn't godlike, X doesn't beat Y every time. You can just have a fun game. If you then go into that game and you're like, right, I was out of the game for 3 months, so I don't know what 3 of these champions do, and they're all over my face 24/7. That's the opposite of a fun time. Like, That's why I always want to know, what angle are you balancing for? If you balance for the pro scene, we can have a million great discussions. If you're balancing only for the fun angle, by the way, we'll take that into consideration. We won't be as harsh on the pro scene, but they always, again, they always claim it's both, don't they? Yep. Even though, as far as I can tell, it's impossible.
Yeah, I don't know how it can possibly be both, right? Because, like... If you think about it, right, the champions they always use this argument for like the really like pro play heavy champions, they're like, oh well, like we have to keep Azir and like Ryze really really weak because it's OP and pro play. It's like, well, how the fuck is that fun for the Azir or Ryze player that's stuck in gold? Yeah. Like this guy is fucking miserable. He's like, I can't fucking play this game. Like I'm shit already, and now my champion is extra shit because some guy is really really insane at some combo I can never pull off. Like I can't shuffle shit myself. How the fuck like is this gonna is this gonna be something that's gonna benefit me? It's like, oh well, if I get really really good on the champion, like then it'll be rewarding. It's like, well, it's just not gonna happen. Like it's just not fun for those types of players. And then I guess on the Samira point is like, for me, it wasn't as much like that Samira was counterintuitive. It just felt like hopeless to play against in my experience. It was like, oh, so as long as the guy is not a complete bot and he doesn't just ult into the middle of the entire team, or like E and then ult into the middle of the entire team at the beginning of the fight where we all are like waiting for him and we have CC, then he's just going to win the whole thing. It's just this like ticking time bomb where if you ever start like evening out the fight, or if you use any skills at all, you just auto lose. And if you don't use any skills at all, you're just going to lose the fight straight up anyway. So I don't know. I feel like the Samira point was just like, it just makes no sense. It feels like people just want to, just defend Riot. Like people that are part of Riot just want to defend Riot blindly, but they don't actually want to like engage in a conversation, because none of this felt like, a conversation that was meant to be had. I mean, one of the points that he goes on to say later on is that specifically like, well, 99% of you guys would suck at this, so you guys can't criticize, which I felt like was super, super weird coming from a shoutcaster, because it's like, I mean,
I know.
Like, dude, how many people were players first and then became shoutcasters, right? Oh. Like, if you were at least a pro player, and you played on the fucking stage, you put 5 years of your life into that shit, then maybe you could come with that approach of like 99% of you can't fucking do this shit, so shut the fuck up. But coming from like a shoutcaster to say that, it's like, dude, you criticize pro teams all the time, and you could, like, even at your peak, you could never play in that fucking game. So like, what the fuck is that? Is that like random, just no, piece of bullshit that people whack.
It's like I always used to say to LS and Local, because they also love that angle of like, my friend who's a pro player and one of the best in the world says X. I was like, mate, shall I just go and get Faker now to say Y? And if I say that, do I win the argument? Like, what sort of stupid metric are we using here? Like, you've got to have a point. Because that's the other part. Is like, I also even found the whole premise weird, Dom. Like, the whole angle of like, well, they have to release it overpowered because people want to win and fun comes from winning. It's like, man, there's so many like loaded fucking like considerations you've just built in there that like I think we have to unpack those before we can get to the bottom of that. Like what? Like where did this come from? Like that. I don't want to play the game just to win. I've never even understood that. Like when they imply there that champion has to be strong to be fun, I don't even know that that's true. Like when I think of fun in League of Legends, you either play the strong shit to win, right? So you play what's broken this month, or you play what's fun because you're just having fun. You're not playing to win, are you? Like if I play a game of like Thresh, I play that because the kit's just fun as fuck, isn't it? Like if you know what you're doing, you might lose the game, but feel like you're in the game. You can do things like utility. Like to me, that has nothing to do with the champion being strong. What a weird premise to start from. Because by his logic, if it's fun, like think about it. Think about this, Ender. If it's fun for a guy who's never played a champion before and he's now in ranked playing it, how much fun is it for the other 9 people who are playing against a champion that guy's barely played and he's beating them with it? Like, that's shit. That is objectively terrible for the other 9 people in the server. Even his teammates are probably going like, what the fuck even is this? Like, what? He's just good on it after the first pick. Like, that's really worrying. To me, it should be the opposite. Like, I don't mind them being broken when they come out because logically no one knows how to use all the champions. So listen, the best player will exploit it way more. I get that. But like, I don't know how you can argue they don't come out way overtuned and then go the opposite way and just tone them down till they're acceptable. It's just clearly the MO. And it's hard to argue against.
Yep.
I mean, even the fact that they already like massively like nerfed Hot Fixer, I think already even kind of shows that Riot, no, they made a bit of a mistake.
Yeah, I mean, it's either a mistake, which I'm completely fine with, and that's what I think happened, or if you're like taking everything that he said at face value, it's just like, it's just horrible fucking business practice, because then you just release it intentionally super fucking overpowered, got everyone to buy this shit, and then nerfed it into the ground and like, gotcha, bitch, like stole your fucking money. Like that's like really fucked up. So I think it was actually just as the champion
It's more
was
unethical in some ways, doesn't it? 'Cause
Yeah.
it's like, mommy, everyone else has got Samira. It's like, right, I'll buy you it then. Like, mom, they banned it now. It's like, what? I just bought you that. I spent money on that.